Hello my friends and welcome to episode 6 of JP Gaming Podcast. So today we've got some news, we've got some NPD numbers, some release date confirmation, some Ubisoft news, we've got a little retro bite and we've got what I've been playing. But first, our opening game this week will be Super Mario World. So that was released on November the 21st in 1990 on the Super Nintendo or the SNES. Obviously developed and published by Nintendo. It sold 20.61 million copies, which is the best-selling SNES game. It scored ridiculously high, scoring anywhere between 9 out of 10 or 95% and over everywhere, pretty much across the board. And it won Nintendo Power Game of the Year award. So obviously Super Mario World followed on from the success of Super Mario Bros 1, 2 and 3 on the NES and came out on the SNES and showed what it could do. It is, in my opinion, probably one of the best platformers ever made, and it still holds up today. Even now, I've played it many a time, completed it very recently actually. I went back through and completed it last year as I was working my way through the early Mario games. So yeah, probably don't need to say much else on that, but obviously it's pretty iconic, so I thought I'd throw it in there. We'll get it out of the way early as our opening game. And yeah, I still love it, even to this day. So we'll jump straight into some news. So the first bit of news, we'll start with the NPD numbers, as I think that's pretty interesting. So they're in. Now, the NPD is just for North America only, but it's always a good indication of how well stuff is doing. So the numbers are in for January 2021. And once again, the Nintendo Switch is the best-selling hardware. So that's for the 26th consecutive month, which is pretty insane, really, considering the next-gen consoles are out now. I know they're obviously really hard to get hold of, so I guess the Switch will probably continue to be the number one selling console for a few more months yet. I'm pretty sure it'll probably reach... It's probably going to be at least in February and March, I would imagine, unless we get a lot of stock of the PS5s or the Xbox Series suddenly drop, but at the minute it don't look like that's going to happen. So Switch is obviously doing very well. It's got the highest selling console unit sales for January in over a decade, which is crazy. So once again, the Switch is still selling really well. It's on course. It's on course with the Wii now in terms of numbers in the lifespan, the same time of the lifespan. So it's on course with the Wii, which is crazy because that's obviously very successful. So it's, who knows, might even beat it. It's got a way to go yet, but it may do. So I guess why the Switch is still selling so well, I guess that's why we've not seen any announcements for the Switch Pro, really, because there's no need to do it. So I'm sure they probably have got a Switch Pro in the works, but we may not hear about that until the Switch sales start to drop off a little bit. But who knows? Who knows? Nintendo being Nintendo, they might just drop it and say it's out in a couple of months' time. You never know with them. So keeping with the NPD numbers, we've got the top 5 games, so running from 5 all the way through to 1. So we've got Animal Crossing New Horizons is in at number 5. Madden NFL 21 is in at number 4. Spider-Man Miles Morales is number 3. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is number 2, and Call of Duty again takes the top spot. So Animal Crossing obviously still doing really well, still up there, which is good to see. Don't look like that's going to be dropping off any point soon. So keeping with some Nintendo news, the next 2 stories are Nintendo news. So keeping with some Nintendo news, earlier this week there was a trademark for Legend of Zelda, the Phantom Hourglass, that was spotted, and it's led to obviously a lot of speculation as to what Nintendo will be doing for the 35th anniversary. So the 35th anniversary of Zelda is this year, so I'll be very surprised if Nintendo don't do anything to celebrate it. Obviously for Mario, we got the Mario 3D collection. Be nice if we got some sort of Zelda collection. I'm still hoping for an Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask double pack, hopefully remastered with nice HD graphics. That'd be nice, but I'm sure they'll be doing something for Zelda. I mean, I'm sure they'll be doing something. Phantom Hourglass, obviously that's been trademarked, so it looks like that maybe that might be coming. Who knows, there might be a little collection, maybe like a free pack like they did with Mario. Still hoping for Breath of the Wild 2 at some point this year as well, but I'm sure if that was going to be coming out any point soon, we would have probably heard about that. So maybe we're looking at the end of the year for that, and maybe they'll celebrate the 35th anniversary with a little remastered pack to keep us going until Breath of the Wild 2 comes out. So That's exciting. At least we know that they're probably, it's looking like they're doing something, so that's nice. It would have been very surprised if they didn't celebrate it, to be honest. So as well as that news, we also got a couple of new games added to the online service, the Nintendo Switch online service. So we had 3 SNES games and 1 NES game. So the SNES games are Psycho Dream, Doomsday Warrior, and Prehistoric Man, and the NES game is Fire and Ice, which is like a little puzzle type game where you have to put out fire with blocks of ice. Prehistoric Man is it kind of looks a bit like a Joe and Mac clone. Doomsday Warrior is a Street Fighter clone, and Psycho Dream is some sort of weird kind of platformer. Now, I've heard of none of these games. I'll be pretty surprised if anybody has, really, other than maybe Fire and Ice. It's always good to get some new old games, but there's obviously plenty of SNES games that we could have seen ahead of these. So, bit of a weird choice there by Nintendo. I know some people are not that happy about it, but hey ho, people are always going to moan. It's always nice just to have some free games anyway, so I'm not going to moan too much. Next bit of news, which follows on from a bit of a topic we were talking about recently, actually. So Illudian Chronicles, which is the spiritual successor to Suikoden, it beat its Kickstarter, as we discussed. It smashed its Kickstarter in record time, and is the record game, I believe, on Kickstarter for meeting its target. Well, it's actually being picked up and will be published by 505 Games, and the developer is now promising even higher quality as a result of the partnership. So that's good. That is good that we've got that it's been picked up by a pretty well-known publisher. So obviously I'm looking extremely excited for this game, and I'm really looking forward to it. And as soon as it comes out, I'll be pumping loads of hours into that to get all of the 108 heroes, and hopefully 100% it, but I'm sure that may take a couple of playthroughs to do that. But encouraging, it's looking good for that game. Hopefully it sells really well, and then maybe Konami will realise that they missed the boat by just letting Suikoden die, because pretty poor decision on their part, in my opinion, because it's got a huge following, as Eiyuden Chronicles has shown with the Kickstarter. So sure, it's going to do well. No release date confirmed yet, but they've said it will be coming on PS5, Xbox Series, and whichever the most current Nintendo system is. So we will see what that is, but yeah, can't wait for that. Hopefully we'll be getting some more news, some more gameplay footage, and a bit more of a release date nailed down soon. Following on from some big game announcements and some big release titles over the past week, obviously with Mass Effect last week, we've now got a confirmed date for Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, so that will be released on June the 11th 2021, and that is the PS5 game that I am the most looking forward to. I can't wait to get my hands on that and play that. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, and the footage that we've seen so far just looks absolutely mad. It looks crazy. Can't wait to get my hands on that. We'll be picking that up on day one. So it's nice that we now finally have a release date for that. They did promise that it would fall within launch window, and I'm pretty sure that this just about falls within their launch window, from what they were saying their launch window is in terms of number of months. So looks like they've just about met it. It's good that we've got some games coming out. It's looking like from April through to June we've got a wealth of games coming out. We've got Ratchet and Clank, we've got Resident Evil, we've got Mass Effect. So it's looking good. I'm sure 2021 will be a little bit sparse because COVID is starting to take its toll. We're starting to see the impact of that now with everyone working from home, and we're seeing delays in games. So it's a bit weird that we've got these new consoles out and not a lot of games for them. But I guess that's to be expected, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of a quieter year, actually. So it's nice to have these games coming because it gives us something to play. Speaking of next gen upgrades and news, we have got Crash Bandicoot 4 will be getting a PS5 and Xbox Series upgrade, and it will also be released on Switch, and they're all coming out on the March the 12th, and a PC release is coming later, and that will be on battle.net. No time for the PC release, it just says later this year, but the next gen versions will be running at 4K 60, so that's nice. I've played through Crash Bandicoot 4 and I've finished it. As I'm a huge Crash Bandicoot fan. I've loved all the crashes, so I was quite eager to get that done. But seeing as it's got a nice free upgrade for anyone who owns it, I'll be jumping on that upgrade. I'll be seeing what it looks like and probably playing through it again. May complete it, or I may just do a few levels, may tidy up some of the collectibles that I've not got, but I'll definitely be jumping into that and seeing what it's got to offer. And while I'm doing that, I'll probably check out the God of War actually from a couple of weeks ago, because I haven't got around to doing that yet either. And so for our final bit of news, I'm not sure whether I don't think this is particularly good, but Ubisoft have announced that they will be less reliant on AAA game releases and will instead be looking at a free-to-play route where they can obviously make money through microtransactions, etc. But they announced on one of their investor meetings or one of their calls that they would, so it was on an earnings call actually, that they would be less reliant on AAA games, and that its plans for the fiscal year of 2022, which is the period from April 21 all the way through to March 22, will be free AAA game releases. But in the future, Ubisoft didn't want AAA games to be the focus of its business model. Now, I doubt how accurate that actually is, to be honest, because Ubisoft, that's what they do. They make AAA games. They make AAA pretty much single player games, and that's how they make their money. That's what they're known for. That's their bread and butter. They've got a huge following. Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, all of those games, even Phoenix done pretty well. They've got a huge following, and I don't think the fans will be particularly happy if we're seeing less of them and we're getting this free to play model. So we will see. They might just be saying that for the investors to keep them happy, and then you never know, they might just come out with their standard releases anyway. So we'll see what happens there, but I hope this ain't a sign of things to come, because obviously I like a nice single player story experience, and the free to play model with microtransactions and loot packs and loot boxes doesn't really suit me and what I like for games, and I know a lot of people feel very, very similar. So we've got one little final bit, and that's a retro news bite. So this week, Evercade have announced that they have got another cartridge coming. So joining the collection will be the Intellivision Collection Volume 1. 3 games have been confirmed so far, and that's Frogbog, Astro Smash and Night Stalker, and there's a further 9 to be announced. So that will bring the cartridge up to 12 games, which is pretty good. Big fan of Evercade. I love that little handheld console. They've recently announced a few cartridges actually. We've got a few coming further in the year. We've got obviously Worms coming out soon as well. The Worms collection, I'm looking forward to that. So as I mentioned in a previous episode, if you've not checked out the Evercade, then check it out, because it's a little retro handheld console that has cartridge based, and all the games are fully licensed. They come with a cool little manual in the books. It's a bit of a throwback to times gone. I love it. It's really cool. You can connect it to your TV as well with a little micro HDMI. It's loads of fun. So check out Evercade. It's you won't be disappointed. It's got a nice price point as well. The cartridges are fairly cheap. They usually retail at around about £15. So that's all good. So before we move on to the final bit, which is what I have been playing, obviously as always you can drop me an email on contactjpgaming@gmail.com. That's contactjpgaming@gmail.com, and you can leave me any feedback, ask me a question, any requests, anything you want really. Doesn't even have to be about video games. Just drop us an email, get involved. Obviously check out my YouTube, hit the subscribe button there. It'd mean the world to me if you could. If I could grow that following. Check out my Instagram. All the links are in the banner of my YouTube as well, and they should be within the description on the podcast information as well. So what I've been playing this week, what have I been playing? It's not been as much this week, but I did get to play Never Alone, as it was in my library on the PS5. I played it on the PS5, obviously it's a PS4 game. It must have come on PS Plus at some point. So it's a short little 3-hour cinematic platformer. Absolutely loved that game. Absolutely loved it. Looking forward to maybe going back in and doing it again at some point. I've got all the collectibles. There's not a lot really for me to do on it other than to experience the story again, but it was just nice. It was really cool. It was chilled. Love the story, love the experience, love the atmosphere, love the setting. It was really good. Love the gameplay mechanics as well. You can play it single player or you can play it co-op. If you play it single player, which I dig, you have to control both of the characters. Could be a little bit tricky at times, but really good fun. Really liked it. Might join in and do that co-op if I could get someone to join me at some point, because I'm sure that would be good fun. I also played a little bit of 51 worldwide games. Not a lot. I just played a bit of Mancala, bit of bowling, and a bit of the Scalextrics racing. I can't remember exactly what that's called, but that's always good just to sort of jump in and out. I think I might have done some solitaire as well, actually. So just the odd game here and there, just to when I've got a spare 5 minutes and I just fancy jumping on something quickly. I've done that. I also picked up Mario 3D World. Haven't had a chance to play Bowser's Fury yet, and the reason is I haven't had a lot of time. So I jumped into the 3D World part, which is obviously great fun. I love 3D World. It's one of my favourite Mario games, so I'm enjoying playing through that. The reason why I haven't jumped into Bowser's World is I'd actually, when I play it, I want to do a video. So because I haven't had a chance to sort of sit down for maybe half hour, 40 minutes and just do it uninterrupted, so I've decided that I'll skip on Bowser's Fury for the minute, and I will maybe get involved in that within the next couple of days. So look out for the video coming, because I do want to record that, and I can't wait to try Bowser's Fury. I've heard really good things so far from the reviews that have been coming out, so looking forward to getting involved in that. But Mario 3D World's keeping me entertained. That's loads of fun. So if you've not checked that out, then jump in, because it's if you're a fan of Mario, you will not be disappointed. I've also got back into FIFA, so I've done a little bit of FIFA 21, just a little bit on my Ultimate Team. Haven't played it for a while, pretty much since the upgrade actually to the next gen. I tried out the upgrade, done a couple of games, and then I sort of moved away from it again. But decided I'll jump in as one of my friends has picked it up, and it got me thinking, I actually fancy playing a few games of FIFA. So I've done a little bit of Squad Builders, done a little bit of Division Rivals as well. So yeah, I'm loving that again. Actually, I'm having fun playing FIFA. Obviously, it's extremely frustrating when you come up with people who have got an insane team and they've just got all the icons, and they've got Salah, and they've got Ronaldo, and they've got Messi. But then it's also good when you beat them and you realise that you don't have to have the best players to still have fun and enjoy the game. So I'm thinking I'll probably stick with that. Don't know how long for. I'll probably stick with that for another few weeks again. I want to try and get an icon in my team, so I want to save up enough money to buy an icon. Ideally, I'd like Bobby Moore, or I'd like Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo. So we'll see. I don't think they're going for too much money. They seem reasonably priced. Bobby Moore seems reasonably priced anyway, and I'm sure that's because his pace isn't the highest. But Ronaldo's quite expensive. I don't know if I'd ever get to him, but I might be able to get the early version. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'm enjoying FIFA 21. Been playing a bit of that. And final game that I've been playing is another new game I picked up this week, and that was Hades. So I'm not really a fan of roguelikes, but everybody says how good Hades is. I have not heard one single thing about it. Obviously nominated for multiple Game of the Year awards, won awards in certain categories, won awards all over. Everybody loves it. The more podcasts I listen to, the more reviews I read. I felt like I was missing out. It went on a sale on the Switch eShop, so I thought I'll just pick it up. I'll pick it up, I'll jump in, and I'll see how I feel about it. And I love it. I can see why everyone is saying how good it is. It's very addictive. You do a run, you die, and you're like, I'll just do one more run, and then you get to another room, and then you die, and you're like, I'll just do one more run. So I can see how you can waste, or not waste, but I can see how you can spend a lot of time in that game just running through, trying to get further. Currently I have beat the first boss, so I've exited the first level, if you like, or the first sort of biome, I think they're called. I'm not entirely sure, but I've exited the first one, and then I've got I think I'm probably about halfway through the next one before I die, so I need to level up a little bit more. But I'm slowly getting the hang of it, getting used to the weapons, finding out what I like. I like the Chaos Shield at the minute. I've not unlocked them all, so I may switch weapons a bit further down the line, but I'm enjoying the Chaos Shield at the minute. So yeah, the story's really good. The voice acting is crazy. The graphics are really good as well. I really like the art style. I'm a fan of the art style. So looking forward to jumping into that some more. I'm going to play through that until I finish it, and then hopefully do a couple of runs once I know what I'm doing as well with the other weapons, and unlock all the blood, I think it is, that upgrades the weapons later on. So yeah, gonna jump in. Definitely excited to do some more of that. So that's it for this week. It's a little bit shorter this week purely because there's just haven't been playing as much. Been a bit busier, back at work as well. So yeah, but we're at around about 20 minutes, so I guess that's about right. So once again, obviously check back again next week. Drop me that email if you want. Drop me some questions, and yeah, I will see you next week. So until then, enjoy your week, have some fun, play some games, and until next time, this was JP Gaming, and we are out.